is your Gemini full moon outlook for December 15th, 2024. So the moon is in Gemini at 23 degrees, the full moon, which opposes, of course, the sun in Sagittarius at 23 degrees. And keep in mind, Gemini is all about communications of all forms, whether it be radio, television, the computer, internet. It even includes what? Our neighbors, and it's the third house. And the third house with Gemini is also all about travel. It's about vehicles. And what else is Gemini and Sagittarius? They are known for their sense of humor. And Gemini Jupiter is retrograde right now. And of course, the moon is just past Jupiter in Gemini. And right now, because of this T-square between Neptune, the sun in Sagittarius, and of course, the full moon in Gemini, there is a bit of some deception going on right now with communications. And I am aware that there are some concerns about our skies at this moment. And with this deceptive full moon in Gemini, making the T-square with nebulous Neptune, there is bound to be some kind of secrecy, information that we are not being told. And in the next coming days, the moon will conjoin first the moon in Cancer, and then, of course, Mars retrograde in Leo. And Leo is very fiery. And right now, we may feel inhibited. We may feel stuck because Mars, the action planet, is retrograde right now. So anytime you have a planet that is retrograde, it is not at its best. And what adds to this frustration is Mars in opposition, wide opposition to Pluto and Venus, the planet of love and affection. And it is not surprising that the powers that be are opposing Mars, and that's the action. And, well, you could say with Pluto now at 0 critical of Aquarius, that things with the powers that be are getting a little bit strange. And especially when you've got Pluto connected with Venus, and Venus is creative, but it's also to some degree how we express our feelings. So although Venus is past Pluto, there is this connection with Aquarius. And the depositor is retrograde Uranus. So it's not unusual at this time that we feel additionally stifled or stuck. Like we want to take action, but we feel because of this Mars retrograde in Leo that we are moving, well, maybe backwards and not forwards. So, what do I think that is going on at this particular time? Well, because of this opposition to Mars and Venus also in Aquarius, that definitely points to the weird and unusual. And also, what else is Aquarius? It's about our humanity. It's about the public. It's about inventions. And Aquarius is about technology. So there is something unusual and possibly advanced in our skies right now connected with technology, some advanced form of technology, not just a standard drone, if you will. And you can see here where we as the public are feeling rather blocked. And Pluto is always the powers that be. So there is some kind of information that the powers that be, whether it be government or whomever, that have information that is rather unusual. Now, what else does Aquarius connect with? It connects with space. So I feel like there is something going on with a connection with space. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that there are aliens, certainly UFOs, but something is going on behind the scenes that we are not being informed of. And when you've got this T-square, especially with the communicator of Gemini in a full moon, well, that definitely veils or conceals that which is going on without our knowledge. And also, what is Neptune? Neptune is about the unknown. It is the 12th house, the unseen or the unforeseen. However, the depositor of this full moon is Mercury, now going direct the 15th, although it is showing retrograde here. It is going station direct on the 15th. And that's good, because this is only during its time retrograde has only added to our frustration and our lack of communications, kind of like Mars, where we feel like we can't move forward because of this retrograde motion. But once Mercury moves forward into the sign of Sagittarius, and again, the depositor of the full moon in Gemini, we will get answers. And there may be, because of this trine with Mars and Mercury, some kind of aggression or very powerful action that is taken to bring about answers and solutions. But Mars will stay in this retrograde motion for quite some time. So although answers may slowly but surely come through with this Mercury placement, Mars is still feeling, well, a little bit aggravated here. And Mars retrograde can lead to violence. It can lead to chaos and certain negative behaviors. So right now with this Mars retrograde, we must be careful of taking hasty actions in order to bring about a positive solution. Now, once Mars does conjoin the moon, or moon conjoins Mars here over the coming days, we will have to be even more conscious of negative reactions or actions in this case, because that's really going to fire us up, so to speak, because both the moon and Mars will be in a fire sign at that particular time. So we're really going to be very, very somewhat assertive and very forthcoming in our actions and behaviors. And with Uranus in Taurus, the depositor of both the Pluto and Venus, well, this is adding a little more of a cold demeanor to our expressions of love and affection right now. And since Uranus and Taurus is fixed, Pluto and Venus are in fixed signs, and Mars is in a fixed sign, and over the coming days, then the moon will conjoin Mars. We'll have to be careful of attitudes and behaviors that are rather, well, cold or not as expressive as we would like. And that's in all relationships. It's not just love relationships. This could be work, family, you name it. And this somewhat of a chilliness of demeanor with our contacts may create some conflicts, because keep in mind, these are fixed signs with Mars, Uranus, and Pluto and Venus. And Uranus is always about the weird and the unusual. And keep in mind as well, Uranus is in the sign of Taurus, retrograde too. So there could be some bullying going on, which we will also have to keep in check. We don't want to get so over the top with our frustrations that we act rather unusual or unpredictable. And this is the scene that is set here over the coming days with this full moon in Gemini. However, one positive, as aforementioned, about Gemini and about Sagittarius is they have a tendency to see humor or brevity in a situation. And keep in mind, that may be one positive about all this, as much as the tone right now is somewhat serious, even with Jupiter and the full moon in Gemini. So communications right now could be troublesome, could be hacking, could be issues with traveling, which, by the way, over this holiday season, you might want to be very cautious because of this full moon. If you can, plan ahead for all forms of travel and anything related to computers, anything to do with your vehicle, the third house, your vicinity. Just be very conscientious of all forms of travel and communication at this particular moment. And with Mercury and Sagittarius, yes, it is now going to be going direct. We will slowly find out information that we need to know. Personally, there may be information that's kept from us that, if we do a little digging, Neptune and Saturn in Pisces, we will find the answers, but we will have to research what it is that we need to know to remove this veil of confusion and deception. And yes, the powers that be are going to be quite stubborn as well, because keep in mind, now Pluto is zero critical Uranus, Aquarius, Pluto in Aquarius, and Uranus is the depositor retrograde in Taurus. So that's not going to help us get the answers that we want. But with Mars in fiery Leo and Mercury going direct into Sagittarius, making this trine to Mars, well, our might win over our intellect, so to speak, in this case. But again, we will have to be really careful about disruptive actions. That is for sure. So if we can find some of the humor in our lives or some kind of positivity, that will help us greatly right now with some of this tension going around. And Saturn is in the very sweet and charitable sign as Neptune in its own of Pisces. And this is really good for doing charitable work right now, acting aware of our reactions, our sensitivities, and really reaching out and caring for our fellow humanity. Charity, however you want to look at it, deals with animals, humans, what have you. This is a positive, as Saturn during this time is in Pisces, and this is what we need to take a hint from right now, is really focus on our sensitivities, our charitable efforts, and even with nebulous Neptune behind the scenes, kind of creating this confusion and uncertainty. Neptune, like Saturn in Pisces, although Saturn is really restrictive right now, it is not its best in the sign of Pisces. We may feel sometimes our sensitivities fall on deaf ears, but nonetheless, this is a positive attribute that we can take away right now. And this is what we need to focus on. Yes, there is going to be continued confusion. But Gemini, another positive, likes answers. And Gemini likes to research. Not like Virgo, the sign of Virgo, but nonetheless, Virgo is curious, as is Gemini. And that's one beauty right now about the full moon in Gemini. We're very curious. We want to dig. We want to find out answers. With Mercury going direct, well, slowly but surely over the coming weeks, as Mercury moves direct, we will get the answers that we seek. We just need to keep calm, realize, yes, there is some deception going on right now from the powers that be. In so many words, knowledge is known more than we are being told. And we have to keep a cool head. One thing about air is we will act rather detached than emotional. So that's kind of a double-edged sword. But at this particular time with the skies, we want to be a little bit more refined and a little bit more detached and not so emotional. And that's another fine feature right now, because the only two water connections are both Neptune and Saturn in Pisces. So that's another attribute that we need to take away from this time, is remain very calm and cool-headed. And what else? What is Gemini? What is Aquarius? It's all about logic. But what's going on right now is connected with possibly AI, advanced technology. Yes, something going on with the space stuff, although possibly not the aliens. And some kind of advanced technology, communications, whatever that deals with. So right now is the time to just remain focused on the future, because that's also about Aquarius, and to some degree the full moon in Gemini and Sagittarius. And another note, yes, whatever is going on out there is of a foreign nature because of Sagittarius involved here in the ninth house, possibly even something to deal with further knowledge that we will gain, Sagittarius, and something that could possibly have to do with philosophy or beliefs of some kind. But sit tight. We will find answers, and certainly we will get the clarity that we are looking for.